you're living in the garage.
Yeah.
You were living in like an RV, I think, that you had like fixed up
A
and
van. It was a van that my whole thing. I went to military school, as you know, and my whole thing getting through military school was all about my mom promised me that she was going to get me a Chevy van if I got like a B plus or an A minus average. Um, I never got the Chevy van from mom because she couldn't afford it when I graduated. So the best the best alternative for me at the time was to find a van. So I got a van that used to be a flower delivery truck, and it was all white and beat up, but that was the van. You know, that was my first wheels. You know, the first car that I had. It wasn't a brand new Chevy. Short bed whatever van, but it was mine. And in the book, I think I tell the story about how Dad and I go to a lumber yard, and I know the wood that we need. We need that kind of pliable, kind of fake wood, And Dad says, "No, here's real wood, and it's even better, and it's cheaper." And it says, "Dad, it'll never work." But we got the van put together. So I was living in the van in the garage. And when you're a kid, you don't know. I mean, I kind of knew that maybe it was a little weird because I had friends, I grew up with friends and they had their own bedrooms and, I mean, they could have dinner I mean, I would have dinner at the table. Esther would cook dinner every night and she was a great cook and I'd help clean the dishes and stuff after dinner. And then I would just go out to the garage and just, that was my space. It's funny when you're a kid and you're dealing with the reality is you don't have a lot to compare it to. So it didn't really seem abnormal to me. To me, it was like, oh, it's got my own place. But it really felt weird once when I was working at a theater. I was an usher, and I invited like a dozen people from like my coworkers to come to my house. It was in the summertime. There was a pool. We had a pool, but Dad and Esther had locked the house and gone to Palm Springs for the weekend and left just the bathroom door, just the door going into the back part of the kitchen so I could use the bathroom. They left that unlocked. And my friends are like, "You can't go in your house?" And I go, "Well, it's kind of like my parents don't want it to be like messed up. They don't want beer cans everywhere." But it just, that was the first time that really kind of hit me that, yeah, maybe this is kind of like weird, but it was what it was. I certainly survived it. So
yeah.